we've been doing this for so long and it's still wrong.
Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Danielle.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we are going to Panem, a futuristic United States. Published August 24th, 2010.
Oof.
Feel old yet?
A little bit.
Oh my goodness. Mockingjay is the last book in the Hunger Games trilogy. And it was the last Hunger Games book until the last couple of years. She was like, I feel like being real productive.
Oh my goodness, so now 2 prequels.
She wrote stuff before Hunger Games, but yeah, she hasn't really written anything in between. But she's also a TV person, so I don't know. I don't know what she's been doing. But we're back. So, woo. The capital has come to call, and the war has truly broken out. So, how does it all end? Who lives and who dies? And will Danielle ever be able to forgive the author?
No.
No, you had some very strong words in your Goodreads review.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't read it until after I read the book, so.
Has it been 16 years since this book came out?
Yeah, 16 years this August.
Oh my goodness. This book can drive. It got its license. It's that old.
Yeah. Did you just say it can drive?
Yes. This book is almost an adult, growing up so fast.
When did the others come out? Can they vote yet? Can Hunger Games vote?
They came out kind of quick with each other, I thought. But also, books usually come out every, 2 years, typically?
Yeah, let's see. 2008. So they came 1-1-1.
Okay. I was going to say, theirs felt very quick, but it also was the time of Divergent and Hunger Games and Twilight and literally all of the YA
coming out at the same time. Yeah, there was a big boom.
Yes.
But yeah, this September, Hunger Games can vote in America, where this is technically set. Wasn't there something talking about 2023 or something, like a year that we've actually reached at this point? No, it was like 2030 or something, right?
It's on TikTok. I don't know if it was actually in this book because it's been a while since I don't think they say dates, but someone swore that it was 2036 is when the 10th game was, because there's a fun little TikTok of like, how old was so-and-so during this game? Because one of the prequels takes place in the 10th one.
Yeah.
I mean, we're well into the 74th, 75th, and then whatever they call this thing. The 76th Hunger Games, technically. Not technically.
Yeah, but that's crazy. It's like when Back to the Future, what was that, 2015, when it became all in the past?
Man, those Velcro shoes were so cool.
So per usual, I've never read this book. I have not seen the movies. I've not seen anything about the prequels. I didn't even know what the prequels were about after they came out. And I said something stupid like, well, we don't need to get Haymitch's year. And you were like, literally, that is what the second prequel is.
That's what the second one is, actually.
I know nothing. I have known nothing except the whole Peeta and Gale hype, which I am now convinced is only manufactured by the movie.
Oh, that's this movie ridiculousness.
But you have read it, what, like every year since it came out? 16 years?
Basically. I've done it at least 10 times because there were a couple of years when I was so busy with school, with college and stuff, I didn't read anything that wasn't required. But no, at least 10 times. It's one of my favorite series. I love the 3 with the prequels. We'll see how many times I end up actually rereading those just because, I don't know. The main 3, these are the OGs. This is my bread and butter. It's crazy to me. I wish I could read it again for the first time. And I know I have the memory of a goldfish, so I don't remember all the details, but it's different. The first time you read this series, Mr. If It Wasn't for the Baby, Malark, are you kidding me? I love him so much. I love Peeta. And everybody else, and RIP, and I don't even know if I can talk about it. 15, 16 years later, here we go.
Here we go. Gave that -1 star. I don't know what year you did it, but it's in the review and it's pretty funny.
So petty. I know. I change my rereads. Sometimes I'll change the Goodreads. And it's usually a 4 to a 5, 5 to a 4 if I'm feeling petty with a specific reread. And then next time I'll change it back to whatever the other one was. It's just for the pettiness. I love it still. As a whole, we're just pretending something didn't happen, and that's okay, because I think most of us are in mass delusion about that. So, we're just pretending.
Mass delusion.
Yeah, unless Suzanne Collins does a sequel, which so far she's only done prequels, and then like a tiny little epilogue, but it barely hints on anything. Unless she does a full sequel, I'm just pretending that little part just didn't happen. There we go. And that's okay, because I do the same thing with the Ugly series. I just genuinely forget that he dies every single time until I'm devastated once again. It's a bad system. Don't do it, actually.
Because you've said your memory for books is so short that you're like, I'm rereading it. Obviously not for the first time, because I swear every time I read one of these books, you always comment, I wish I could read this for the first time.
And I do.
And I don't know why. I want to be emotionally wrecked. Once more.
It's always the sad one. Bridge to Terabithia, I would love to read that for the first time and be gutted like I was in middle school. Josh Hutcherson's in that too. The guy who plays PETA, in case you didn't catch that. He's a little baby though.
Oh my goodness. But age level,
me.
Somehow we're still YA.
Every single pick of mine is going to be YA. I'm sorry. I did that one mid-lit book for you.
Well, I'm just surprised it's still a YA with all the content warning stuff. Like, we're out here just completely destroying 16-year-olds for no reason. I read the Ugliest series. I read Twilight. I read so many vampire books. They did not wreck me like this book wrecks me. Older YA, for sure. Because, to go back to a joke you said with one of the other books, how you were so glad we got to a content warning that didn't include genocide. First thing we got is genocide.
Yeah.
Blood, kidnapping, murder, torture, forced prostitution mentioned, incest mentioned, mental illness, graphic violence, gore, death of a parent, death of a child, a lot of children, death of a spouse, just war crimes. All of them. Self-injurious behavior, suicidal ideation, and PTSD. The mental health has come to call, as well as the war. A lot of people are not doing well. Judge a book by its cover. It's a bird. And the cover is blue.
Okay, I was going to say, it's the pretty blue one, right?
Yeah, it's the traditional one. We do now have the one with the sprayed edges. I think they're the anniversary editions.
I'm afraid to buy them because what if she makes more than the 5 that are out and then I get another one and it doesn't match? So I just have the 3 that I've had since high school. So
yeah, it's just so minimal and it works out really, really well because I feel like that was pretty popular. I mean, the Uglies had faces, but like Twilight all had symbols, and this had symbols, and a lot of vampire books had symbols.
Did you ever read the Matched series?
Like Maximum Ride?
No, it's matched, crossed, reached. They had a beautiful symbolism. I'm looking at them on my bookshelf right now.
Oh.
Where she's in the glass ball and then she's breaking out and then she's standing on the glass ball. It's pretty. I'll send you a picture. But it was the same time frame. It was very divergent time. Hunger Games time.
Because I feel like so many YA books now, like you look in the YA section, they have people's faces, right?
Yeah, the style of the cartoon, cutesy, whatever thing, or they've been really trying to make everything into a movie instantly. So then some of them barely get a book cover before they're instantly reprinted with the actors' faces, which I hate those. I love Jennifer Lawrence, but don't put her on a book. That's not what I want. I want the pretty normal standard blue book.
Yeah. No movie covers.
Yeah, I just hate them. Even if I love the movie.
But yeah, I never know. The only reason I knew this was a war book is just the general pop culture. If I had just picked this book up randomly, I wouldn't have known what was in it.
Yeah. Well, I was to say, even as sheltered and delusional in your own little, I'm not going to even read this book, even though it's fantastic and everybody loves it. And I gave it 5 stars when I did eventually read it. That's you, by the way.
I got that.
Was it subtle? But no, even how you've managed to not get really most spoilers. I know there's been obviously a few things.
It is impressive. I think the only book that has ever been ruined for me, even movies too, my husband's feed is filled with spoilers every time there's a movie coming out that he wants. And I just have so perfectly created this bubble.
Yeah.
So the only book that's ever been ruined for me was the last Harry Potter book. And not because I understood what was happening or the plot or anything like that, because I didn't read the Harry Potter books until I went to college. But I had this book magazine, and one of the pages is literally, I'm just flipping through this magazine, and one of the articles is all of the people that died in the last Harry Potter book. And there were pictures.
That's the worst choice.
Who does that?
Guys.
But that's the only one that was ever ruined for me. So it's like, I knew Snape died, I knew Hedwig died, I knew like a bunch of other ones died. And so I was like, oh, I'll just file that away forever. I wasn't expecting this from you, bookish magazine. That probably doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I have managed really well. Like I said, the only thing I knew about it was PETA had something to do with bread. I was so unaware of what was going on that I literally thought it was Gale, Katniss, and PETA in the Hunger Games, and like PETA baked her bread in the Hunger Games. And I was like, is that how it's related? I was so off anything. And so yeah, getting to this book, and here's a truly amazing thing. You have been able to avoid spoilers in this series. You haven't spoiled anything in this series, which is so impressive considering all the spoilers you gave me for the Lunar Chronicles and then the Imposters series, which is the sequel series to Uglies. You buckled down for this one though.
This is one that obviously I love this Ender series, like the Lunar Chronicles. And the Imposters was good too. I think it was better than Uglies, but it had to exist first before the Imposter series to exist. But no, this is one of my favorite series. And I think because I've loved it longer and have done so many deep dives, I've been so good. I think I was pretty quiet on the last episode when we were recording.
You had to bite your tongue on so many things.
Well, and you said something about Finnick. And I about lost it. So I'm like, just being quiet, being good, not telling you nothing. We love him, obviously.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing bad happens to him in this book. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
That doesn't exist.
Come to Delusion Land with me and about a million other people. Yeah, no, it's one of those fan things where we just pretend it just didn't happen. It's like with the third Divergent book too. Some of that just canonically, it doesn't exist. The author made it happen. We don't care. That's not my truth. That's how part of Mockingjay is for me.
We all agree it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, right?
Yeah. The author can say whatever they want.
That's how it works.
They're lying.
Reshape reality. But yeah, so we're in District 13. We're underground. Some of the very, very few clips I've seen of the movies make much more sense now because the only thing I think I've ever seen from this movie is briefly someone was mentioning, related to something else, how the movies made Effie Trinket part of the rebellion, and she was. And I didn't even know that what they were portraying was District 13, but it is.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I understand where we are now with that. And I think I've vaguely seen some shots of her in the Capitol, but it's really gray and white. And I'm like, oh, because it's winter. That makes sense. Beside that, that is all I had going into this book.
Which she's not in this book. I mean, for all the movie takes over and really makes Effie part of this.
Yeah.
She's not in this book.
No, she doesn't. She pops up briefly at the very end just to be like, hey, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Which, I mean, you'll see it when you eventually watch these movies. So that's a choice that I'm kind of glad they made because in the books, it's Cinna's three little stylists.
Oh, so she kind of replaces them?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're not in the movie, but honestly, if you have Elizabeth Banks, you put her in a movie. Like, so that basically is kind of the role she's playing, but she's more flamboyant about it than these starving, terrified Capitol people.
Although that does take out some of the commentary with Gale, but we're love triangling it.
Yeah.
He can't be the philosophical product there. He has to be a love interest. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, so she needs to be the Mockingjay because they need a symbol for the rebellion to get behind. And basically this whole first part is just about propaganda.
Yeah.
Sometimes she helps with the war because she goes completely AWOL and she's like, no, I'm going to help. And they end up getting the best footage from it. So it's just, anyway. But that's like the whole first part.
Yeah. Literally nothing happens. Katniss is missing PETA because he's up hostage. She kind of bonds with Finnick, which I love, and they're so cute, and he teaches her to tie knots when she's nervous. Her and Haymitch, because he has to dry out because they don't have alcohol, and he's the most sober anyone's ever seen him, including whenever they were trying to get him sober to train them. There's a lot of little personal family friend moments, like survivors.
Yeah.
Except for Gail, because screw that guy.
Gail has a whole family, but we see his mom like once, and I think one of his siblings is mentioned.
Yeah, there's a specific line which I wish I had thought of, but definitely somebody else had commented on it. But they were talking about how, and it's an actual line in the book, but basically Gail's outfit, his District 13 uniform fit him. And it's all of the people in 12 that were rescued and taken there. They're all malnourished. They're little. I don't know. It's just such a specific, tiny little one-liner that Suzanne Collins is an evil genius. Little Easter egg given everybody little, hey, if you pay attention, I'm just going to tell you all the commentary about who you should like and who is on what team. He looked really baggy in basically his dad's clothes because the miner's uniform.
Yeah.
He didn't fit into it, but he did fit into the District 13 clothes. And it's just this whole rabbit hole of even when they're out in the woods and stuff, he's got his little communicuff thing on and he's so excited to be a team player and instantly is like, yeah. And it just kind of reminded me of those kids who join the army and are real gung-ho about it right after high school, because it's basically what he is like a kid fresh out of school.
Yeah.
And he buys in so quickly to, yeah, well, obviously the Capitol's bad.
And so the ends justify the means every single time.
Yes. And he fully believes everything that 13 tells him and is such a little golden boy for them instantly that it's, Katniss, why aren't you just shaping up like Gail? Because she has a free mind and she is actually trying.
She's actually experienced the thing, the worst atrocities, and is like, hey, this is bad and maybe we shouldn't be like those people. Because here's the thing, Suzanne's saying as succinctly as I can put it by stealing it from Fallout, war never changes. Doesn't matter when, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who. And so much of this book, and I pulled it really early on, Coin is Snow.
Yeah.
President Coin, like the little things she was doing in the beginning, I was like, she'll turn into Snow as soon as she can. And then she does more and more things. And by the end, she is Snow. She's literally like, let's do another Hunger Games.
Yeah. Until then, the ends justify the means and they're trying to stop a war. And even when they were making the propos and it was, okay, that's weird that you guys are really doing your side. Because, I mean, you see political ads. That's what's happening. They're trying to get you on their side.
As a marketing person, wars will always have propaganda, because if you don't, we probably wouldn't war nearly as hard as we would need to actually do stuff. It's so easy to look at like World War II. You can look at Nazi Germany propaganda or Italy propaganda or Japan propaganda, but then you can look at the UK or America or France or any of the other places that also use propaganda to be like, hey, no, it's a good thing we're sending people to war. It's a necessary thing. We have to do the thing.
Yeah, because even when it was kind of icky.
Oh, yeah.
That they were super propos.
No, it's going to be real gross.
Yeah, but you can just push that aside and not think anything. But as soon as they got to the end and they're like, you know what? I think Snow's got a granddaughter. Let's put her in another Hunger Games. That's the way to end this. They had 75 years of Hunger Games. You think one more will be the thing that stops it? No.
Yeah, but this time it's the Capitol. It's so different. No, there were so many things. Like you said, in the beginning, you're like, this is gross, but this is war.
Necessary, yeah.
Like, this is a whole industry of war. It always has been. It probably always will be. Because how else are they going to convince other people to do their fight? That whole spiel. But like I said, there were times where she would say things or she would do things and I would just be like, you would turn into Snow in a second if you could.
Yeah. Well, and the way that she took Katniss's quote-unquote demands, and they were so dumb. They're like, I want to keep the cat. I want to go hunting sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the thing that she was balking on was trying to get amnesty for all of the victors who were being trapped and being in the Capitol. And Katniss was like, a blanket statement. I want them all to, instead of just picking Annie and Joanna and Peeta, obviously. But they're like, no, these people have lived through trauma. Leave them alone. Let's just rescue everybody. And Coin's hesitating moment where she doesn't want to give in. And that was, I mean, for me, the first read through anyways, that was the real moment that it was like, oh no, she bad. She's so bad.
Yeah. I looked it up in my notes, and I specifically say it when there's a broadcast from Snow and he's like, oh, they're dead. And then Coin cuts in and she's like, I'm the leader now. Because Snow's like, they don't have a leader. And Coin cuts in and she's like, I'm the leader now. And Katniss has been martyred and we will fight for her and whatever. And I literally put the line, she shouldn't be voted for because she could be a Snow easily. But before that, there are several times where I just put something like, ew, after something she does.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Suzanne Collins is just subtle enough that it's not outright telling you every single thing, but she's not as subtle in this one. The other two,
yeah.
The first two is a little bit more social commentary from the background, from the, hey guys, you should realize what's happening. This third book, she said, maybe y'all are dumb. And then honestly, with the prequels, you can tell she's fed up with everybody. She came out with the first prequel, and then people started making thirst traps from that of Snow. He's young in the first one. It's the 10th game.
Every time, I swear.
And she's like, nah, here's the 50th games. You want to see what monster this guy was? He's the same guy who's from Katniss's. Why are you guys doing this?
He is the villain. I know. There's a whole brand.
Yeah.
There's a whole section of that readership.
Kind of got away from her.
But to kind of go off of that, because it's talking about how Gale's her little perfect soldier boy over there. Oh, he goes to all of his training and blah, blah, blah. Sorry. My husband brought up an interesting point, and I wonder what you would think about it. He feels like, okay, first of all, Gale's very much a non-entity for the first and second book. He's background.
Yeah. He's half her cousin, half her childhood friend who clearly likes her, but it's not a triangle.
It just feels like, hey, I needed another person to show how terrible the seam is. So here's this other person, but also almost on the level of Prim, where it's like a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Like when he gets tortured in the square, she reacts to that, and that causes a bunch of things to happen, but Gale's not a big part of anything. And so, yeah, there's points in like the first book where he says some like super anti-capital stuff. And at the time, it just seems like, oh, it just needs to show that he's anti this so Katniss can be like, well, I'm a moderate, you know? But do you think between the first and the second book and then to this third book, do you think that Gale has changed significantly in that he suddenly becomes ultra militarist, I'm gonna murder everyone? Or do you think this is a natural progression?
Well, it's hard because the first book, he sees Katniss, who he's clearly in love with.
No, I have an argument on that, but continue.
But what he thinks love is, I don't think it's love.
And it's not. We'll get to it.
So he sees Katniss have to perform for the Capitol and with the romance with Peeta and stuff, because he's like, nah, she likes me. She doesn't even know him. Fine, whatever. She comes back safe. Great. And the second book, he is now in the mines. She has to go back again and is still rejecting him. He's down in the mines and talking about the rebellion. And I think if it had been any other people, if it hadn't been Katniss or his little brother or somebody that he actually knew and cared about, I don't think he would have gone as intense with his, I don't know, army. I don't know what they're calling it in the book specifically. They don't call it an army.
In a lot of ways, it reminds me of those people that are kind of posers in that in like college, they'll join the communist club because they hate their parents and not because they actually believe in the merits of communism. They just so badly want to be part of an anti-culture that they'll do that, and then they leave college and that's just not their personality. This isn't a person that actually believes in these ideals. They just want to be antagonistic and be in a place where they can feel superior to other people, and that's just how deep it feels like he is.
I mean, I can definitely see that. For me, it just kind of felt natural just because of Katniss's interaction with it. If I think anybody else had been to Mockingjay and he'd been in the mines, and then he rescued people still because he was near the woods, so he was going to rescue people. That I do believe is a true instinct for him. But I do think he would have still fallen in line, but I don't think he would have tried as hard. Like, I don't think he would have drank the Kool-Aid so much.
It wouldn't have been so personal.
Well, yeah, because not even for Katniss anymore, but he has a real true mission because of his involvement with Katniss, and Coin sees that and is trying to get Katniss on her side too. So she's like, okay, let me groom this little golden boy. Let me get him in shape and he'll pull her back into line because they're best friends and all of this. Maybe not 100% thinking that this one single boy can change everything and get Katniss doing what she's supposed to do, but I think he would have just been a background regular citizen. I don't think he would have cared.
Yeah, because just everything Gale does pisses me off in this book.
Good.
And that might be the point.
And the last one, you were saying such mediocre, nice things about him. And I was like, I hate him. But I tried not to give you any spoilers. I did so good.
Like, there's a scene where the prep team was basically tortured for a little bit because they stole a piece of bread, which, yeah, Coin, that's very suspicious. But she's like, hey, that's not a cool thing to do. And he's like, but they're capital people. Why do you care? And she's like, because they don't know, because they're naive and idiots. And it's not right. And not to compare people to dogs, but at the same time, it's like beating up a dog for doing something they did like hours ago. You're just showing off your power. You're not actually punishing them because you want reform. You're just punishing them to feel good about it. And she tries to explain it to him, and he literally says, I'm not trying to start a fight. Well, you're not trying to understand either. Why the heck did you bring it up then if you didn't want to fight? You wanted a fight. Shut up.
I know.
Or you wanted her to fall in line with you and be like, oh my goodness, Gale is so amazing. I'm calling it now. Gale's an incel who happened to have a female best friend. This entire book, every time he talks about her not loving him, it literally just comes off with, I'm putting all of these nice coins into you. Why aren't you giving me sex? I'm the best friend. I do this for you and I'm doing this. And it's always him being entitled, being like, well, why aren't you giving something back to me, huh? You only kissed me because you're upset about PETA, or whatever the heck he said. He said, oh, you only kiss me when I'm upset, or whatever. It's so gross.
Yeah.
It is so self-serving. I don't believe for a second he truly loves her.
Oh, me neither.
Because he would never self-sacrifice anything. Like this conversation where at best he just goes, I'm not trying to start a fight. We can agree to disagree. And the entire book is him proving why you shouldn't have just agreed to disagree. He also comes across as a mini Snow to me. We're not even going to go through the plots. Let's just talk about the philosophy and the characters and then we'll get to points. But the thing with the bomb at the end, and she just straight up goes to him and she's like, do you think that bomb was yours? Because he literally planned a bomb where it's like, oh, it'll explode once and then people will come in to help them and it will explode again. Like they weren't just protecting a hospital and 8 because the Capitol did that exact thing where there was a bombing and then they get all the people in the hospital and then they bomb it again. He just fought that and he's like, we're playing by Snow's playbook. And it's like, I'm sorry, I thought we weren't trying to be a Snow anymore. That's the whole reason we're fighting this. We don't want a Snow. But he's like, oh no, we're doing Snow's playbook, whatever. And then at the end, she's like, do you think it was one of your bombs? Because Prim got killed by a bomb that exploded twice. And he just goes, well, I don't know. And BT doesn't know, which is fair. They don't know. But then he just goes, you're going to believe what you want to believe.
Oh, don't listen to anything the Prim Reaper says.
What is wrong with you? To come at her with contempt because your invention could have done that to her. Not, I'm so sorry. He could have revived himself there by being like, I'm so sorry. I didn't really consider the ramifications for this. I didn't really think about it happening to our people. I was so in my anger with the Capitol that I did not care of the ramifications. And obviously this could be a ramification of my bomb easily. But no, you're going to believe what you want to believe. And then And then he gets a big job in 2 where they trained the peacekeepers. And Greasy Sal's like, yeah, sometimes I see him on TV.
I bet you do. I bet everybody does. That boy wants to be on television so bad.
That boy is trying to be in charge of the army with his little "it doesn't matter as long as we win" motto. Hasn't learned a stick of anything. Never cared about Katniss. Never checked on her. Never anything. Anyone who is Team Gale after the books, I will accept it if it's the movies, because it sounds like the movies way play it up and actually give him redeeming qualities. But anyone who actually reads the books and goes, yeah, I'm Team Gale, how dare you, Katniss?
Trash. Instantly.
I'm gonna give you some side eye.
Instantly.
He is the worst. I hate it.
Good.
He had so many chances to be a good person, and then he was like, nah.
Every time he turns around, he's trying to mansplain or coerce her into doing something or saying something.
It's always coercion. And I want to be so mad at Katniss for falling for it. Like, girl.
I know.
I just want to pull an Edna and grab a piece of paper and be like, pull yourself together. Every time you kiss him, you validate him. I just want to be so mad.
I'm glad you're also infuriated.
I'm so mad.
You weren't doing a whole bunch of praise, but you definitely, in the last one, had some, oh, he's okay, whatever.
Because he was okay.
Because he was okay, but it just, I don't know. I was really hoping you had some brain cells.
Thanks.
And would get to the end of this and would be on the same page, because I don't know if we could be friends if you were Team Gale.
Katniss owes him nothing. They were friends. They were literally always friends. And she points out maybe if we stayed in 12, we would have gotten together. But yeah, maybe if in a completely different world, in completely different circumstances, something might have been different. That does not a relationship make. And throughout this entire book, he has just proved over and over and over what an entitled prick he is.
I love that they also were not friends for very long. Yeah, they were survival teammates. They were hunting partners.
And so in a way, they did trauma bond in that. But yeah, and his story?
They had the same dead dads and stuff, but she was 12. And by the time the first book rolls around, she's 16. They were only friends for 4 years. And he thinks she owes her.
Which, granted, I'm going to give him that. It's some formative years. We all had friends in high school that we don't see anymore, but we think about them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But I do agree, it's not like lifelong friendship.
Yes.
It's like a high school friend. We met at a time because we were both in the same place, in the same situation, but we have moved on from that. But what really, really got me was, first of all, him being petty about her, everything, and then come to find out, oh yeah, I kiss girls all the time. I kiss them everywhere. All the time, everywhere. You were gross. So I made out with everyone, but you had a romantic experience with someone else. How dare you? And it's like, okay, that's a little weird. And then he's like, yeah, I figured out that I liked you because this other dude flirted with you and I decided I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's just possession. That's not romance.
Yeah, that's possessiveness. That is not love. The relationship is built on the foundation of jealousy. And you can really tell. Because then and then let's look to the other side. I am not necessarily a Team PETA either. When we got to the end and they got together, it didn't feel like you read some books and you ship it and you're like, yes, you have finally gotten together. This is what's good. This is what's right. This is satisfactory. I appreciate that you finally got together. It honestly just felt inevitable. How else was the story going to end, you know? Like, it just felt like, yeah, PETA has always loved her, and through her healing, eventually she comes to love him back, because I do think there are moments of love. I don't think she necessarily had all these romantic feelings for him, but I do think she had other forms of love. English only has one word for love. Other languages have like a million words for different types of loves, and I do think we are limited by that, but I do think she had love for him, even if it was a platonic love or a brother-sister love or some other type of love that did form this basis. place where she was literally sacrificing her life for this kid. She was gonna do it. Absolutely. It didn't end up happening. So I'm not surprised from that they built a relationship. On top of that, that made sense. But it's not necessarily, hooray, they did it. They kissed. Huzzah. It just felt, yeah, that feels right. That feels inevitable. That feels like what was gonna happen.
Well, after all the war and trauma, I mean, it's not supposed to give you feel goods.
No.
It's not a romance book at all.
No.
So the inevitability for me, it felt like coming back together, becoming whole. They're still very broken and very trauma and PTSD, and they got a lot, even in the little epilogue when they're years down the road.
Yeah, but it's not like, oh my gosh, they have so much chemistry, why won't they kiss kind of thing either.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm sure there's fanfic out there.
Oh, there's so much. This is one of those ones that's like...
That being said, I've been Team Katniss this entire time, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Team Johanna.
I love her.
Those couple chapters with the whole them helping each other to get through training to do the thing, they had more chemistry in those chapters than she had with anyone else in this book series. It's like Darius all over again. Oh, I felt really good with that. And then she didn't pass. And then I was like, okay, well, we're back to Peeta and Gale.
Yeah.
What's the Sabrina Carpenter line? And the Lord forgot my gay awakening.
Yeah. That's Katniss.
Oh, that would have been so good. Alas.
Especially after the elevator scene in Catching Fire, where Joanna's just fully naked in front of her, trying to make her nervous.
Well, that's the thing. He's trying to catch off Peeta, and Peeta being like, she's just trying to mess with you. My enemies to lovers
is Joanna and Kenneth.
Delight. My radar aside. I'm just saying.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of the two of them, too.
She is the first one where they got together and they both became better people for it. And I'm like, that's what I love. I like when two people get together, they become better people because they're in a relationship. But alas.
Well, Joanna's story is so sad because she literally has nobody.
Nobody.
She kind of is friendly with Finnick and a couple of the other victors, but it's not in a like, hey, we're best friends way. It's just like, I see you every year, like, do this.
Like allies at best.
Yeah. But then she and Katniss, as abrasive as they are to each other, because they're very similar personalities.
But also Johanna's pulling a Haymitch and being like, I don't have anyone the Capitol can use against me, so I'm not going to develop any relationships with someone so the Capitol can use them against me.
Yeah. Which honestly is smart. Poor Katniss.
Yeah, I can't blame either of them. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the couple I do ship, Finnick and Annie get married and then they have a son and they live happily ever after.
And that's all that happened.
And that is all that happens. He probably helps her mom set up that hospital on 4.
Yep, they go swimming all the time and visit Katniss. That's so cute.
It's adorable. It's great. You don't forgive her for it. I get why she did it, but I'm also reading this as a almost 30-year-old versus a teenager. I get why she did it.
Well, and the author has to kill off somebody, and it's self-sacrifice in this case versus Prim's that like catches you so off guard even more because you're already gutted.
Yeah. And you have to remember, even though this is a YA with all these characters we love, she really is writing almost a philosophy book in this. And she wants you to experience certain emotions to have this conversation about philosophy and about politics and about all this stuff. So I understand in the intellectual way where I'm like, Finnick dying, random, no big, oh my goodness, moment is war. That's just facts. People get blown up for literally no reason one day, and you just have to cope with that because that's what war is. One of my favorite YouTubers ever put it as, they're not getting sent over there to be tickled. We're literally sending people to their death, and it's not always heroic. It's not always in this amazing battle. Sometimes it's just because someone made a mistake, or they were sent in and it was a suicide mission all along, or whatever. That happens, and the trauma that comes with being a survivor and the trauma that comes from family members trying to make sense of it and to be like, well, what was it for? That's the exact question she wants you to ask when Finnick dies. Well, then what was that for? What was the marriage for? What was the friendship for? What was any of that for if he's just gonna die? Exactly.
Well, and especially because they do the wedding and it's such a big, happy celebration. And
it's so happy. And then Annie's getting stable and he's there and it's so good. Yeah, that's the one happy thing that happens in this book.
And he's such a happy, charismatic character, too, that you're rooting for him. Not that you're not rooting for Katniss and everybody else to find love and be happy and be stable at the end of this.
But of all the characters...
Of all of the characters who deserve a happy ending.
Everything Katniss been through, but everything he's been through. Of all the characters, him and Prim, but Prim's not really a character. She's more of a MacGuffin, but that's beside the point. Deserves a happy ending, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same conversation that happens with Prim. She tries to make her more of a character in this book. I don't know if that's actually successful. When she died, I was more sad for Katniss than sad that she died.
She has like 4 lines in this.
But it's the same question when Prim dies. Well, then what was that for? Why did Katniss volunteer for the Hunger Games? To save her little sister's life. She should grow up, become a doctor, and all of these amazing things because Katniss made this big sacrifice. But because she died, well, then what was this for?
It's such a full circle moment, and in literature too anyways, because as soon as she volunteered for Prim in the first one, and I knew that there were more sequels coming out, you kind of know in the back of your head that Prim is going to die just because if there's a gun in theater, then it has to go off kind of thing.
Yeah, if there's a gun in Act 1, it has to go off by Act 3. But that being said, this is a YA. And so part of you is like, none of Tally's friends really die, you know? Like at the end of Twilight, they have a brief conversation in a meadow and it's fine, you know?
Twilight was weak for not killing nobody. Weak.
And that's why I'm like, when we're at the beginning, it's YA? Because if this was an adult book, absolutely Prim dies.
Yeah.
But she does not sugarcoat nothing. She sugarcoats nothing.
Well, and it is commentary on political society, America today, different things like that. Because when she wrote the first one, that's what the author had said.
To go back a little bit, so I was talking to my husband because I was reading the book. He's also with you. I'm just like, I'm not giving you any spoilers. But there's some stuff in that happens that I get really upset about. And so at the end, I was like, Finnick dies? And he was like, Finnick dies? That's what affected you? I was like, yeah, that's what affected me. And he goes, I got really upset about PETA, about the hijacking.
Yeah, that one's very rough.
So how are we feeling, Team PETA? How are we feeling about him wanting to kill Katniss?
He literally was tortured for weeks and his brain chemistry was messed up. Obviously, they should definitely have taken way better precautions to keep her safe because they knew this was happening.
Well, they didn't know the hijacking specifically, but he's been tortured.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Even the guy that used to be the game master, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Heavensby, Plutarch.
He's like, yeah, we knew of this technology existing. So yeah, you're right. They should have a little bit more, but at the same time, I'm not terribly surprised because it's PETA. You know, he's so in love with her.
He'd never hurt her. You can't put everything on the hijacking. I don't blame PETA for any of that.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But it was just so hard for him. You get through these 2 books and it's pretty set that PETA just gives Katniss every benefit of the doubt. There is a couple of times when he'll be a little salty, but they're 17.
Yeah.
And he's doing really good considering.
Even when they got engaged and Catching Fire, oh, well, this was bound to happen. He has a little line there where it's a little snarky, but it's just, okay, let's get married. Whatever. That's what we're supposed to do. In Catching Fire.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like at the end of Hunger Games when he's getting off the train, like, oh, let's go pretend. But the entire series, he's been the EQ person. He's been the person that's good with people, good with his own emotions. He's got it handled. That's his intelligence. That's what he's really good at. He was able to, as a member of 12, get into the pack of 1, 2, and 4 and work with them and convince them that he was on their side. He's able to spend all of his appearances on TV. He can get the crowd on his side and he can read people. And like I said, he can handle his own emotions. And then to see that completely turned around here, where he's not sure what's reality and what's not reality. And he can't, the paranoia of not trusting people and especially not trusting Katniss. And I appreciate that she keeps that. And even in the epilogue for the rest of his life, he has moments where he's like, I gotta pull, I'm in the present. This is not real. And to have that kind of representation of PTSD of war, she doesn't sugarcoat that either, but he's able to pull around. But yeah, apparently that's what affected him most, was seeing PETA like that. And Katniss takes it as like, oh, he's seeing me how I really am. And it's just, no, you just view yourself very poorly. And he also views you very poorly at this second. And so you're like, this is the true, like a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I cannot even imagine going through that level of stress during a very pivotal development moment. People misstate the frontal lobe thing. They're like, oh, it stops developing at 25. No, that's just when they stopped the test. It just kept developing and they were like, okay, we got to stop at some point. And so it develops probably for our entire life. But the amount of development that happens in those late teen years, early 20s, that's crazy. Is there coming back from that? Period. And I don't think there is. Suzanne doesn't think there is. It's like we adapt. And oh my goodness, universal truth. Nothing will show you where your cracks are than having children. In the part where she's just so paranoid about telling them about the horrors of life because she knows how irrevocably changed she is just for going through it. And so she's just worried about telling her kids that. So real.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that Katniss even is willing to have children, because that was always her thing.
Yeah, she does not want to get married. She doesn't want to have children because she doesn't want them going into the Hunger Games.
Yeah. And especially once she became a victor and then before Catching Fire had fully happened and Gale was trying to romance her or whatever stupid thing he was doing.
Well, I don't know if she put that much thought into it because I can't remember quite right. But especially in Catching Fire, she was like, no, I'm a victor. My kid will be in the Hunger Games.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's just a fact. And so she was vehemently against it then, for sure.
But even before then, even in the Hunger Game, before she even goes in the Reaping, she has this thought about like, oh, well, we can't go without the kids, meaning the little sibling, her and Gale's and stuff, and their moms.
Oh, yeah. I remember her being like, why do we have kids?
Yeah. And she's just like, I just would never do that because this life is terrible. We shouldn't be having kids.
How do you have kids knowing this is the world they're inheriting?
Yeah.
So I do see how she was talked around to it. And it sounds like it's going well for her, which I'm happy about.
Because it's years. Yeah. It's years of her and PETA healing together before it turns into even thinking about having a kid.
Oh, yeah. It's a long time. They don't give exact numbers, but it is very clear. 15 years after they become romantic?
Yeah. And the kids are little.
Which, granted, we're not really given a timeline on when they get romantic. It's just like, oh, he loved me and eventually I loved him back. And then 15 years later, we decided to have kids. And she was talking about her anxiety when she was pregnant. She had so much anxiety just being pregnant, but holding the baby. She was like, okay, I can do this. And then the second time around, she's like, it was a little bit easier, but not by much. But I'm a huge proponent. If you get pregnant, you should go to therapy because whatever mommy issues you have, whatever daddy issues you have, any issues you have is about to pop up real quick with kids.
Oh, yeah.
Any childhood trauma, even adult traumas are going to come up. That makes a focus real well. I am surprised, though, that she did eventually have kids, but if she was going to have kids with anyone, it was going to be PETA, so...
Yeah, well, and it sucks because it also was the time of all these YAs where the goal ended up being to be married and have kids. And that for sure was never Katniss's, Suzanne Collins's goal. I like that it's in an epilogue because sometimes epilogues are true. Sometimes you can ignore them.
Yeah, that is not a main core of the story like with Twilight.
Yes. Oh, the entire last book of Twilight was about that.
Weird time.
But it felt natural that it would take her time to realize that she was safe and comfortable and could have children, that the world had settled.
Yeah, because the world is different now.
Yeah, because she was finally
free of that world. But I can understand why she still had that anxiety, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I just, sometimes they'll do and then they got married and had babies. And actually, I hate this. This was not one of those moments. Technically, she did change her mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people think if women change their mind, then either they didn't actually mean it the first time or whatever other nonsense people say.
Well, it doesn't seem to betray the character.
Yeah. Because even finding romance and loving PETA and all of that, yeah, a lot of that was trauma bondy.
They eventually built something very real.
Yeah. Well, and even whenever they're in 13 and they're doing all of that stuff, she doesn't have to see him. She doesn't have to, and she does take a good moment and avoid him. But she doesn't have to go when she knows that he's on the same team as her for the propos and stuff, like the little fake stars event thing that they do, the stars team. She can leave. She's not contracted to do nothing.
Yeah.
But she stays with him. She pretends to sleep so she can eavesdrop what the boys are saying about her. I don't know. There's so many tiny little nuancy moments. I think her love for PETA is genuine.
Yeah. Although there was a moment of Team Katniss where the boys were like, well, Gail said, I think it was Gail who said it, but one of them was like, oh, she'll pick whichever one she can't live without. And she was like, boys, I could live without both of you right now. And I'm like, yes, queen.
But she can't. She needs PETA.
We get to PETA not because she can't live without him, but his kindness to her was a healing step. And I do think, like, we don't get a lot of the background in, like, the day-to-day, but I do think eventually they helped each other be better. They're both very, very unwell individuals in the beginning, but just her narrative from the last chapter to the epilogue, you can just, I don't know, you can feel the maturity, you can feel the growth, you feel like she's older and she has a more external perspective on things. So, like I said, it just felt inevitable. I'm not going to say it's like, oh yeah, it felt right.
Yeah.
But it felt correct.
It felt true enough to the character that it felt good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, even in romance books, sometimes they'll do an epilogue and it's like, and now we're married, or now we have a baby, and it's like,
and everything's perfect.
I hate this.
No, the one thing that did feel really good, her and Buttercup.
I know, her and that stupid cat.
You don't care. No one cares as much as I do about the kitty waterboarding from the first book, but look at us now. Pets are awesome. Literally, Buttercup was the whole reason she was finally a PETA's putting the primrose in, got her to be like, okay, I need to live. But Buttercup is the reason she started healing. Buttercup is the reason she finally got in contact with her mom, which I have so many thoughts about her mom. Just straight up abandoning her to go to 4 and be like, here's the note. It's on you to have a relationship with me. Bye. Whatever.
Her mom has always been terrible.
Whatever redemption she had, but Buttercup's the reason she talked with her mom. Buttercup's the reason that she finally got into contact with the doctor and started actually getting treatment for all of her stuff and not being suicidal the whole time. So yes, Buttercup, them bonding. Buttercup's not even mentioned in the epilogue or ever again, but that moment was really good for me.
15 years later, you think this cat is alive? I'm sorry.
Yeah, not only is the cat alive, it made it all the way from 13 to 12 by itself. It was brought in a hover car. It's not like it made its way from 12 to 13. It just shows up.
Cats are resilient. Katniss, so true.
Yeah.
And I love that a few people from town moved back, but the whole population got cut in what? A fourth made it to 13? It's a very slim number. It wasn't a lot. It was like, what, 200 people?
Yeah.
From 12 to 13 originally. And so way even less than that went back to 12. But I love that Greasy Say,
oh yeah, as her cook? I immediately loved that.
and she comes and helps take care of Haymitch, and Haymitch gets some geese to take care of, so he's got a project. Katniss and PETA with his primroses that he plants for her, and little thoughtful acts of service things that has always been, I know he's a words of affirmation guy.
Yeah, he is an act of service guy.
The little things.
Gale has no love language for giving.
God, he's got nothing. His love language is probably buying pretty things or getting pretty things bought for him.
I don't know about giving, but getting words of affirmation.
Getting. Oh, yeah.
Tell me I'm pretty. You know, I just want to go back to Fairy All Parents with Trixie. Tell me I'm pretty.
Give me something fancy.
But yeah, it's just the stark contrast of that is just so night and day. Because it's not like PETA was showing up because he was like, oh, years from now we will get together and then 15 years later we will have children. No, he showed up because he knew Katniss was suffering and he was like, I don't know what will help, but I can do something.
I'll just be nearby. I'm healing too.
She is missing her sister, obviously. She'll be in great grief about that. I miss my family. I'll get her a primrose bush. He didn't know that would stop her from being suicidal. He was just literally like, I can do something. And Gail would have been just pissy after like 2 days and being like, why are we married?
Let's just pop a baby up right now. Also, Gail immediately leaves. He's like, okay.
Immediately.
Okay, bye. Have fun in 12.
Never checks on her.
Everybody you know is dead.
Literally, their last interaction is him going, you'll believe what you want. Like, that is some abusive, narcissistic crap. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm glad she gives up on letting him gaslight her, because it's a lot.
Yeah, it's so gaslighting.
But he immediately just takes off, doesn't check in. I mean, he might send some kind of notification we don't know about, some letters, whatever.
Yeah, she mentions, oh, the phone is ringing, which I think it's implied that it's her doctor, but maybe it was other people too, and he ringed her twice and was like, I give up or whatever. But I don't know.
Zero effort. I don't appreciate it.
Zero effort to meet her where she needs. Yeah.
PETA would never. Ugh.
PETA didn't.
And he didn't, and he showed up. Even Hamish, with all his surliness, showed up for Katniss.
Even Hamish showed up.
That's her dad. That's her dad now.
When her own mom won't show up for her, Hamish did. He's literally a miserable alcoholic, but he still showed up. I mean, granted, then he stopped showing up because he was getting drunk, but he did more than her mom did.
Greasy face, her fake little grandma. I love that this is kind of a found family book. I know she has actual family, and obviously we love and miss Prim, but it's such a little collection of the ones that go back to 12.
Yeah.
And remake their home.
Yeah.
That's the satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Although I would definitely read a sequel to this. I don't know what would happen, and unfortunately I think we're going to be stuck in the prequel mode for a while.
Or if we get a sequel, it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a time jump. I don't think Katniss is going to be the main character.
Yeah, it just would be hard to think of anything that would justify, especially because we did get a tiny epilogue.
And she has so many Hunger Games to choose from.
Yeah.
She gave her 73 other Hunger Games.
Well,
she could just keep writing Hunger Games for the rest of her life.
Well, because we've done 10, 50, 74, and 75. So, what, 71? Technically.
And technically, there is a point where they're like, welcome to the 76 Hunger Games. And they're like a little right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so funny, though. They're not wrong, though.
Not wrong, though. So, fun fact that I had to look up, so now everyone gets to know. Katniss gets shot, and it ends up rupturing her spleen. And this is when her and Johanna are amazing. But Johanna's like, oh, don't worry, apparently you don't need one. So I looked it up.
Do you?
Yeah. You know how it's like, oh, you don't need both your kidneys, but it's better if you have it? Because if one goes down, you're in trouble. You only have the one. And you can function with it, but it's less efficient. And so you actually have all these issues, potentially.
You need a spleen, though, right?
So I looked it up, and a spleen's job is several-fold, but to summarize it, it produces white blood cells, and then it filters out the blood, looking for the broken or the misshaped or just the old red blood cells, and will recycle the iron to put it back into the body to create new red blood cells.
Isn't like rupturing a spleen a common thing?
It's common enough that we've all heard of it or seen of it or know somebody with it, but it's not happening to everybody. It's not like getting the flu.
Maybe I am thinking of the appendix.
So I looked it up and I'm like, that's pretty important. And so if you lose your spleen, if it ruptures and it's unsavable, sometimes they'll try to save parts of it, kind of like a liver, but other organs will take over its job. Like the blood filtering, the liver will take that over. And other parts of the body will try to create the white blood cells. But because you don't have the spleen, you can live without it, but you're at a higher risk to get sick. So yes, you can live without it, but you're kind of immunocompromised in that way, that you have the potential to get sicker because obviously you don't have an entire organ just kind of dedicated to that. So fun facts, good science, Such a rare thing for me to say during your books.
Hey, there's hardly any bad science in this one.
If there is, it's somewhere in the gore and I don't want to learn it.
Yeah. I mean, the hijacking is technically a torture thing that could be real.
I don't know whether that could happen or not, but like the mutts, some of the mutations that they're able to create, that's very future. You know how some fantasy books are just like magic.
Yeah.
We can do this because it's the future and we're more advanced. Don't need to look too closely at that. But yeah, people talk about their spleen all the time and I've never sat down and thought about it. Like I know what the liver does, I know what the heart does, I know what the stomach does, but like the spleen? Question mark. So now we know. You got really mad about Katniss leading the mission and then a lot of people dying and her coming clean about it and then them just being like, we knew following you was dangerous. That's why we came.
I don't know why that bothered me so much.
Probably because it goes back to that question, then what was the point? Don't just try to rub this away and be like, we knew the risk going in. I'm just looking at your review now because I think it's amazing. You're so mad. I've never seen someone so mad at a book and then give it 3 stars. If someone read your review just straight, I don't think they would imagine you giving it much more than a 2. I love whenever you have a review and you just put eye roll in it.
I get so mad.
Your review, you just put rolls eyes forever and you still give it a 3 star. And I think that's so funny.
I live for the drama. I wish everybody would just actually do reviews.
As sassily as possible.
They are all over the place because sometimes it's a full review and sometimes I'm like, this is just the plot of the book. And that's my review, which is not how reviews work.
That's how some people do reviews, I swear.
Really, really mad. I do all types. Follow me. I'm chaotic.
Whatever is the mood. So at the very end of the book, they capture the Capitol. They capture Snow. He's going to be on trial. The commander from 8 just straight up lets her go talk to Snow without Katniss realizing that's what she's doing. And Snow's like, hey, I'm evil, but I'm not that evil. I'm betting that was Coin that murdered the children and then murdered the medics. And he puts in a great point. He's like, you think I had an airship? I would still be here?
So true, though.
So true. And that's the thing, Katniss has to bite through and be like, he's lying. Oh, crap, that makes sense.
Well, and the fact that Gale didn't yes or no.
And then you have the big moment where all the victors get together and Coin's like, I'm making a decision and the whole world is going to know that you guys are the reason for it. That was some manipulative crap. I caught on to that real quick. The world's gonna know that you chose this, even though it's her idea.
Oh yeah, blame the victors.
But it's the victors, because if the victors say it's okay, then it must be okay. She's still using propaganda. Anyway, that's when she brings up, oh, we should have another Hunger Games and put capital children in it. I knew she was Snow. I knew it. I swear to goodness, author, if you're not going to come out on this, change it here. Katniss hears this and is like, yes, let's have another Hunger Games. I choose yes for Prim, which is a really weird phrasing for her. And she just locks eyes with Haymitch across the table. And she's like, now's the time to figure out if we're alike, aka if he can read my mind. And then Haymitch agrees.
Yeah, he's like, I'm with the Mockingjay.
Yeah, and I was just like, there's no way so many people give 5 stars to this book if this is the true ending. And so I'm literally sitting in my room at whatever o'clock at night it was, because I was like, I can't be emotionally destroyed like this and then put this down and have to read chapters tomorrow. It's not happening. So I'm finishing this book, and my husband's doing his own thing in another room, and he's like, all of a sudden I just hear, yes! From across the house. You're just celebrating because she gets out there, she has 1 arrow, Snow's there, and she uses the arrow to kill Coin. Thank you!
Just so everybody else knows, Snow very clearly is so old and about to die anyways because he's hacking out blood constantly.
He is coughing up blood at a very fast rate. He is about to die, period.
So he for sure dies relatively soon after this. They don't say exactly when, but there's no way.
It's right after the arrow because they're like, oh, we don't know if it's because he choked on his own blood or if in the pandemonium that was after her getting shot, they trampled him. So it was right after.
Yeah, he did.
He did. And it literally says she looks at him and he's still coughing up blood and stuff, so she figures it out. But yeah, she shoots. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was literally going to fight you, Danielle, and be like, why did you make me break this? Why is the world obsessed with it?
She said she wanted to kill Snow. That was her one agreement. And of course, Coin wants it broadcast. So she unwittingly has her own murder.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. God, I can never remember the one from 8 who kind of takes over for a little bit.
Yes. So the new commander, they very quickly pulled together a election and they elect the woman commander, Paler.
Oh, Paler.
Who we met in 8, protecting the hospital. That would have been my vote, honestly, of all the people of the book.
The 4 people we've met that are in charge.
We met a lot of 13 people. And then we know people from the Capitol and we know people from 12. And of all the people, she's good.
But yeah, I mean, it very clearly was going to be her as soon as the other 2 were knocked out. But I do appreciate that Paler still is like, okay, you have to go back to 12 for that murder you did. Okay, bye.
Yeah, so she is on trial. She never goes to trial.
They just decide quietly.
Which she's surprised about. And you come to find out the reason she never goes to trial is because they're doing not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah.
Which, in real life, if that happens, you go to a mental hospital. And some people, once they go to a mental hospital, they get to a place where they would be able to mentally stand trial. And then they still have to go stand trial. It's not a get out of free card. Oh, I'm better, so I go home. No, you literally go back to court. Unless it's like a really, really specific situation. But a lot of times, yeah, it's like, okay, you can stand trial now, so you go to court. But they kind of set it up where she's almost exiled.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, she's basically under house arrest now. And no one is there. So it's fine. No one to murder.
But honestly, where else was she gonna go?
Yeah.
12 was her home. That was her thing. She's not gonna go to the Capitol. Maybe 4 with Annie and the baby. Maybe with Joanna and 7. But she doesn't really have any strong friends or family ties. She's not following her mom. She's not going with Gail Primstead. Where is she gonna go? Besides 12. So her soft exile, I do appreciate that they kind of still actually hold her accountable.
Just give it to her. I'm glad that's what they ended up doing. They could have sent her to some sort of mental capital hospital, I'm sure. But yeah, that's the end up, is she is sent to 12. We're not really told that she can't go somewhere else. She just doesn't. So maybe she eventually gets that. And maybe people just stop watching or they give her a pass or something. I did think it was interesting that that was the immediate route they went. Maybe it's not the immediate route because she's there for months in this room. So who knows what their legal thing was. Hamish just shows up one day and is like, hey, we're done.
Yeah.
So who knows what their legal defense was. But I did think it was interesting that it was not guilty by reason of insanity and not guilty. But at the same time, how do you, in such an unstable country, how do you say, no, it's fine that she murdered her? I know we voted president, but like actually she was not a good person. So it's a good thing that Katniss did. You can't. You cannot.
Yeah. Well, and if it had been Snow or Coin still in power, if she'd killed the other and the other had lived or whatever, Katniss would have been able to do whatever she wanted because it's like, oh, well, you did what I like. And that's not how that works.
Yeah. But at this point in time, with how fragile this new world is, this new political structure, because they're going back to a republic, you can't go around murdering people.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. You guys had a really bad war, and then you're like, you know what? We'll punish them with the Hunger Games and 2 kids every year.
Yeah.
That's such a small number. It's fine. Sacrifices. So we don't have big war again.
So we can all agree that was the right thing to do. But I guess I wasn't surprised that that was the outcome as much. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was an option.
Yeah. They do still have choices.
That was probably the best legal defense that they could put on and get her out. But yeah, people start coming back to 12, start building lives there again. They find out that the mayor and their whole family is dead.
Yeah.
Because Katniss was a little bit hoping, like, oh, he's the mayor, so maybe the Capitol was like, hey, come here, it's fine. But
R.I.P. Madge.
Oh, it's ew. I sent you a gif of a cat crying and then the camera shaking really fast back and forth. And that's about where I'm at.
Fair enough.
I did give it an automatic 5 stars because I felt all the feels, but I don't know. We'll see how I process further. I might go down to 4 stars.
As a whole, it's a 5-star series. I do think this was the weakest one, just because nothing happens for the first half of the book.
Although, to be fair, that's kind of how I felt about the Hunger Games. I was like, there's so much book before the book. The whole first section is not the Hunger Games.
Yeah, but if you didn't understand how she lived her normal human life.
Yeah, there's a lot of world building that sets up and it's fine, but that was the surprise for me where it was like, how is the Hunger Games only part 2 of this book? The book named after the thing is only 1/3 of the book.
Well, and even the actual literal games that she's in is so slow because she's by herself mostly. She's just chilling, just surviving, and then suddenly at the very, very end.
Yeah, it's not a high action series.
Yes.
But when it is action, oh my goodness.
It's nothing but action, yeah. That's how this third one was too.
There is either traipsing around the woods by myself or bloody gore mess. No in between.
And repeat for 2 more books.
But yeah, the beginning of this book is literally them just shooting the promos. Or they called it the propos, which is just stupid and I hate that.
Yeah.
The promos. I don't know. Well, I think I know why, but general thoughts for this. Yeah, how do you read this every year? Oh my goodness. I need a break.
Yeah.
From thinking and life.
Well, a few times I've only either done just Hunger Games or Hunger Games and Catching Fire. Mockingjay doesn't always make the cut.
It's like extras.
Yeah. Like I'll skip Scarlet or I'll skip extras. Not always necessary for a reread for me. I have read this one a decent bit as well, but of the 3, it's definitely the least. I would never just pick up this one. I might pick up just Catching Fire. I might not start at book 1. I might start at book 2. But this third one is never my go-to first choice. It's usually I do all 3 of them.
I'm just going to read this one. I'm in the mood for some Mockingjay.
Yeah.
Let's wreck all of my feelings.
Said nobody ever, I think.
One question for the author. A little bit of background for this. I don't know why, but I heard Hanging Tree, the movie version. It randomly came up on my Pandora one day, which I was a Pandora person. It randomly came up on my Pandora, and I was like, I really like this. And so I added it to a couple of playlists. So I heard Hanging Tree from the movie before I read this book, and then I read this book, and the way it's described with Katniss being such a good singer that the very birds stop and listen to her so they can mimic her more perfectly. It really made me realize that I wish Jennifer Lawrence was a better singer.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine.
She does her best.
She's fine.
It's okay. But for when you read the words and how everyone reacts to it, it could have been better. But okay, fine. It is what it is. We did our best. She doesn't sound bad, but it's not, I don't know. I feel like it could have been more of a statement piece if we were stronger. But that really makes me wonder if the author could spill the tea. I really want to know what she thinks of the movie Hanging Tree song when they took her words, because that's all it is. It's poetry. And then they made a song out of it. Because if you haven't heard the movie version, it starts and it's just Jennifer Lawrence singing the song. And then eventually other people come in, which I'm sure will make more sense if I watch the movie. But by the end, it's a chorus of people singing this song. And so it's really powerful in that way to show how one person can start a movement a little bit. So I'm wondering, does she like what they did with it? And she agrees with the creative choices and she heard the song. She was like, oh my gosh, crying. Or if she had an Agatha Christie moment and she's like, I hate it. I don't like this. I also wondered the same thing about Stephanie Meyer's and Edward's Lullaby. Is that what you wanted? Do you feel good about it? You're like, oh my goodness, you put notes to my thoughts and it's amazing and this is better than anything I could have written myself. Or, I mean, it's good enough. It's fine. I won't raise a stink. You guys are paying me to be here. So I'm really curious what her thoughts on that song is.
Google says she was a part of the production team. team.
But that doesn't mean she had final say on everything.
No, but I mean, some authors literally just give everything away and then don't come to set.
That is true. There are some authors that definitely don't have that right to be on set and be a producer, but that doesn't mean she liked all the creative choices.
True.
Because with the movies, you can tell a huge influence to it was Twilight with Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Yeah.
And so they immediately had to be like, well, we have to have a love triangle, so it has to be Team Gale and Team Peeta, and so we have to give them redeeming qualities. This isn't about philosophy. This is about selling merchandise, you know.
Well, and the thing about the movies is they changed such a little thing, but since she now has these prequels, there's stuff that are very important that don't exist in the movie world that now we can't do any setup from the prequel. So now the movies canonically have to stay with what the Hunger Games movies said.
Yeah.
But it's little things that honestly make a huge impact once you watch these movies. And I'm still trying not to give you spoilers, the compare and contrast stuff.
Because they didn't set it up in the Hunger Games, you can't really set up something that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely puts you in a corner. So yeah, I'd be curious. The Hanging Tree is the first thing that comes to mind, but now that I know that she's in a production, you know there were decisions where she was like, I need to go to my trailer or whatever, her room, wherever. You just gotta do it, you know, all the cooks in the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah. No, I guess my question also probably would be similar to that because of the prequels and stuff. Do you regret letting them or not having more of a say in the few tiny things that do change? Because she wrote the books 10 years after.
When you were writing the prequels, were you specifically like, when they turned this into a movie, because it was like almost immediately turned into a movie.
Yeah, the new one's coming out soon.
They're not going to be able to do anything with this, but I'm still going to write it, you know?
Yeah.
Were the movies even a thought? Or was she just like, nah, this was my plan since I first conceived it?
Yeah, I don't think she cares at all about the movies because once you read the prequels and stuff and watch the movies, she don't. She said, that's what I wrote. This is what I'm going to pre-write.
This is my art. This is the conversation I want to have. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah, because she stays very strict with what she said or believed or whatever versus what the movie, and it's like dumb stuff like Katniss's hearing and just little dumb things. But there is one specific, her token has such a huge moment that is not in the movie.
Yeah.
So dumb.
I'm going to need some time before I can pull up the movies and look at them. I just can't right now.
Well, if you wait long enough, all 5 of these will be out.
I'm so pissed off at Gale. I don't want to see any redeeming qualities from him.
He still doesn't have hardly any in the movie, to be fair. They try.
Then what are they doing? Anyway.
They try so hard, but I hate him, so I might be biased.
Rating. I kind of already hinted at it. I gave it away. I've been watching Fallout. War never changes out of 10. It's a fact. Whether it's futuristic United States, the people in charge hardly ever see repercussions because they're sending other people to fight their fight, and then all of them die, and then they just swoop in and they're leaders. And oh my goodness, I'm so amazing because I led all these people to their death, but less people died on my side than that side. So obviously I'm amazing. It never changes. It's just fact.
I'm going to give it a planting primroses in order to grow and heal out of 10.
To cure my depression out of 10.
Yeah, because, well, there's so much sadness. Reading the book will make you cry.
Yeah. Even the epilogue, like I said, it hints that the world's better, but it's not like, and everything was wonderful. This isn't the end of the Tale of Two Cities. And because this decision was made, grandchildren of the grandchildren lived happily ever after, blah, 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 blah. No, it's still pretty bleak.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good ending, but it's not a happy ending necessarily.
Yeah.
Happy things happen, but from a very distorted lens. The end doesn't justify the means. There we go. The ending that we got didn't make all of this worth it. It's just life goes on. It continues. And then that in and of itself is a good ending, but doesn't always mean it's happy.
Got growth and then some regrowth and then growing together, growing apart, growing together again, seasons, I don't know, flowers. A metaphor's in there somewhere.
Sunrise, sunset. So, okay, why would you want to make it a 4-star instead of a 5-star? Well, we get to read again. I've read some gut-wrenching books, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to read them again. Like, I read Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver, and that wrecks you in a whole different way. But I'm like, oh, I want everyone to read this. The conversation being had is so important, and this is something you want to reread and stuff. It makes me think of like Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, like the Grace Year.
It's so freaking depressing, and it's not necessarily a happy ending, but the conversation being had is so important that we need to reread it, and we should probably be teaching it in college, mainly because I feel like so many of my literature books that I read in high school were wasted on me because I was being a teenager, and so like we need to teach this in college when we're really thinking about stuff. But then I get to this one and I'm with you. I'm like, I could probably read the first 2 and stop.
Yeah.
It's just, it goes so far for me. And like I said, it's a good conversation to have, but now that we've had it, I will remember that you're like, what was this for? And I'll just look at the book and be like, what was this for? And then put it back on the shelf.
Yeah.
And be perfectly content.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still end up reading it again. I'm positive. One of my rereads, but
honestly, I'd rather read The Grace Year again before I'd read this again.
Well, it's also hard because a series, anytime there's a trilogy, one of them is a weak book. And unfortunately, it was this one. Usually the second one is kind of the filler, kind of just getting us to the epilogue.
Yeah, second one just is like, oh, the story progresses, but not too much because then it would be resolved and then we wouldn't need a third book. So this is just here so that this is a trilogy.
But Catching Fire, even though it ends on a cliffhanger, you could just infer stuff of, okay, they're probably going to 13 or they got captured by the Capitol. Who knows? Until they do their tiny reveal and then it's very clearly they're in 13. But I don't know. You could just end it.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Imposter series where it's 4 books and at the end of the 3rd book, Callie, Youngblood's here. And in my mind, I'm like, that's where the series ends. I don't need to read Youngbloods.
We're done, actually.
We can just mentally extrapolate what happens in that book. We can just ignore the existence, and that's a little bit how I feel about this book. It's just a lot.
If the 2 main character deaths, because there are still a decent bit of half the people on their little stars team end up dying. All the camera crew, bunch of everybody.
Oh yeah, like everyone in the first Hunger Game dies but her and PETA.
Yeah.
Rue is still gut-wrenching. And then they get to the end of the book and it's like, oh, we won. Yay, I guess. We're gonna have PTSD for the rest of their life and survivor's guilt, but we did it.
Yeah. But for this book,
it's hard.
Either Finnick or Prim, if one of them lived, would it have made a difference for a reread for you specifically?
Let's just pretend all our favorite characters are alive and it's all good.
Prim went to go be a doctor with her mom and they definitely visit Katniss.
I know, it was a little bit funny because I've been comparing this to the Ugly series, but literally how many of the Ugly series, including Imposters, is just a bunch of teenagers storming the Capitol, getting into the area, sneaking in and doing whatever they want and getting back out. So many of those books, that's what it is. And so it was a little bit weird reading this one. And it's like, no, we don't just storm the Capitol. There's a bunch of things that happen and not all of them go well. In fact, they're not even the ones that take the Capitol. It happens when Katniss is passed out.
Yeah.
So a little part of me was like, oh, I want that fire. I want that adults are failing us so kids can take over the world vibe a little bit for my YA. But she's like, no.
Yeah.
Stop.
She had other things to do.
Adults are everywhere. But favorite of the series so far, because I'm going to count the prequels as part of the series, obviously. Yeah, I agree. Catching Fire. If I was going to pick up one of the books, I'm like, I want a Hunger Games vibe. I'd pick up Catching Fire. I think it hits its stride so well, and it introduces Finnick and Johanna, and it has enough of of Katniss's fire, where she's no longer, because in the beginning she's just so passive, which is a necessary progression she needs to make because the reader needs to understand why the Capitol is bad. But catching fire, it just catches. She's rebellious, but it's the Hunger Games, but it's actually not because it's a whole thing with the rebels, and it's best of both worlds, I think. The good parts from the Hunger Games and the good parts of Mockingjay are both in Catching Fire.
Yeah, Catching Fire probably still be my favorite. The prequels, honestly, are a lot.
But have you read this book? Do you think the movies do a good enough job? I'm not going to say perfect. You don't have to be like, they're better than the books. But do you think they do a good enough job? Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Mockingjay with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Danielle.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.